Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Glory Glory My Eye podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and Brush is back with me again today to review the Dortmund game and take an in-depth look at the new signing, the new striker at last, Rasmus Hojlund. How's it going, Brush?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yourself?
All good, all good. Apart from those three defeats in a row in pre-season, which is putting a bit of a dampener on our mood currently. But then it's only pre-season; we can't take that too seriously. Um, Comment right away here from Eagle Eye Football. Why is Maguire so protected? Onana did nothing wrong, yet the media haven't go at him. Uh, when is Bruce going to face reveal? um, Yes, that we'll get onto that later in the show. The whole Onana Maguire thing, which has caused quite a stir on social media. First of all, what do you think of this new X up? Like, it's no longer called Twitter; it's now called X, and
I am yet to update the app, so I haven't seen it.
it updated automatically in my phone, and
Oh, okay.
it's taken a while to get used to it because I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm flicking around my phone looking for the Twitter app and I can't find it, and I'm like, where is it?
Yeah, I've heard this has been a problem for a fair few people. Yeah, they've just not even realized. I don't really understand it, to be honest. It's a bit crazy to get rid of a well-known brand and icon that people can instantly recognize. Bit of a strange move.
It seems like Musk is trying to make it similar to his other brands. SpaceX, for example. No, he's called. I don't. How long do you think this will
Yeah,
last?
maybe. It's very strange though, like when a brand is already established to do that, you know? Imagine if somebody came in and bought McDonald's and got rid of the golden arches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just shows you how arrogant the man is. Really. How long do you think this will last before it goes back to being Twitter again?
No idea. I'm hoping soon. I mean,
Yeah.
it hasn't forced me to update it. I usually only update stuff when it forces me to, so I'm in the clear for the time being, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. Eagle Eyed says that his update automatically as well, and he says that you are yet to update WhatsApp.
Yeah, I had to. It forced me. It forced me, Rich. It locked me out. Usually they warn you, I think, when there's like 2 weeks to go, asking you if you want to update, and I usually just put it off until it no longer works, basically.
Yeah, you're not fond of the updates then, no?
No, no, they keep messing things up, and yeah, I'm not fond of things changing position when you're used to it. It's weird. There's no need for it.
Yeah, there's no point in change for the sake of change, is there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd rather they took a Porsche sort of model where the 911 hasn't really changed, and if you look back through history of the 911s, you can tell that it's kind of kept its identity.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, back to the football then. First of all, we talk about the game last night or today, depending on what time zone you're in. Another defeat in pre-season for United.
Hmm.
Individual errors costing us goals. At least we got a couple of goals in this game, unlike the previous game against Madrid. Um, Absolutely unbelievable goal by Dallo. I just wish he would do that more in the Premier League. And a typical Anthony goal, just a curler with his left foot into the bottom corner. After it kind of fell to him really after poor defending, but yeah, the first goal I think was a mistake by Brandon Williams, initially, and then it was just catalogue of errors really. Second goal, Lindelof I think gave the ball away, and then Williams was playing somebody onside, disaster, and then was it the third goal? I'm trying to think the third goal. Who made the error for that? Who was it again? Oh, Wan Bissaka. Yeah, he gave the ball away. Um,
It was a joint effort, wasn't it? It was just a calamity of errors. I think that's the only disappointing thing for me. Like the goals could have been prevented, but again, like you say, it's pre-season, so I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest.
yeah, it was strange, first of all, that he selected a reserve 11 in this game
Yeah.
against Dortmund, and they played, 62 minutes before the big guns came on. Um, I know everybody needs to get proper minutes, but I expected in a game against Dortmund in our final tour game in the US that we would have seen the strongest 11, but we didn't. And kind of proved costly, I suppose. But having watched the whole game, United were dominant in the first 45 minutes, only got one goal, and then conceded two very sloppy goals in quick succession at the end of the 45 minutes. Dortmund were very fortunate to go in 2-1 up at half time. So, and in some ways, the reserve 11 did perform well. In
Mm,
particular, for me, Palestri impressed me immensely again. Um, he's just direct, isn't he? He goes at people.
yeah.
He gets crosses in, pullbacks.
And we saw little glimpses of it last season, Carl. Like where when he was given the opportunity, he did shine. He did show what he can do, but the manager, for whatever reason, didn't trust him enough. Maybe. So yeah, we definitely can't have a repeat of that. So if he's not in the plans, we need to loan him out.
Yeah, if the manager's prepared to give him actual decent minutes
Yeah,
in this forthcoming season, I would consider, having him on the bench every single week because he'd be a great option, in my opinion.
yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of competition as well, isn't there? Him and Ahmad have both made good cases to be involved.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. He's going to have to make a decision on quite a few players in the next couple of weeks. Um, and then sorry, just been distracted there. Um, so another interesting take from the game was Onana's distribution, which is absolutely out of this world. Some of the balls he was playing to Rashford were just immense. And it's just a massive upgrade on the
You
previous
can
goalkeeper, isn't
the
it?
smile on your face as you're talking about it says it all, really, doesn't it? It's night and day. Yeah, it's a huge difference to the style of football we're trying to play. The only thing though I did notice yesterday, for me, that balance in midfield was not there. So that needs to be fixed for me. I don't know if Amrabat coming in will help that, but yeah, something needs to give. I know it's very early days as well, and I don't really want to judge on preseason, but I need to see a bit more from Mace.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Yeah, Onana made a brilliant save in the second half, and then he immediately turned on Harry Maguire, started sprinting towards him to give him a
Yeah.
mulligan, which has made a few headlines. What do you make of that, Rush?
I mean, listen, it's Schmeichel-esque, isn't it? I like a goalkeeper that's, commanding and likes to bark orders at all his defenders. Unfortunately, we know how the media and the social, especially on socials, how everyone is when it comes to Maguire. He's a polarizing figure, so that's the one that they'll all concentrate on. But he wasn't the only one that had a bad game. Like there was, other individual mistakes and errors in defense. But I think they've just kind of highlighted that one particular instance. I thought Onana gave a great interview afterwards, actually, and broke it down really well.
Yeah, Maguire nearly scored an OG with a header from a corner as well. It was
Yeah.
nothing seems to go right for
No, nice.
Harry.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's best. We've been saying it for a long time now, haven't we? I think it's best for all parties if they just part ways. I know earlier in the week, last week was it? West Ham submitted a £20 million bid, which got rejected. Let's hope they come back with a second offer.
Yeah, well, it didn't seem from the reports that they are going to come back with a second offer because they're
No.
not getting the impression that Maguire is particularly keen on going to West Ham.
Mm.
Apparently, Harry wants to go to a bigger club than that. I don't think he can afford to be that picky, to be honest with you.
No, no,
Um,
and listen, West Ham are a decent club, and they've just won the Europa Conference League as well. What more does he want?
yeah, I've been in Europe 3 seasons running now, so
Yeah,
yeah, he's not going to. I mean, he's not going to get any better than that. I mean, Manchester City are not going to come for him like
No,
this.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we're looking at bottom half of the table teams anyway, and out of the clubs interested, I think West Ham is a very good option. The other places I can see him fitting in are places like Everton and Wolves.
Yeah, because West Ham have just won the Conference League and they're
Yep.
in the Europa League next season. He's not going to get better than that, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
exactly. You get to play in the Europa as well. Yeah, and yeah, so why not? Why not? My worry is as well, obviously, the wages he's on. It means that I don't think there will be too much of an improvement on offers coming our way.
Yeah, that's another reason why West Ham are not diving into this too much and only
Mm,
offering 20
hmm.
million because the wages will be an issue for them. Um, yeah, I absolutely loved Onana barking at defenders yeah, like you say, it was Schmeichel-esque, and I love to see that from a goalkeeper. I love to see leadership from a goalkeeper.
Yes.
But he was very diplomatic in his interview, as you say. He said, I tried to talk to Harry. I tried to talk to them a lot. He's referring to defenders. I know he's a good player. He's one of the captains of the team. That's big, and he is good with the ball. So I would demand from him a lot. And he's a good player, great guy. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to come out publicly and say Harry's a bang average defender and he should leave the club. He's going to be diplomatic about it in public, but even he must be thinking privately that Maguire is not up to the standard.
Um, I mean, listen, even when we were really, really good, Patrice Evra and them lot, when they give interviews, they talk about the training room bust-ups and on the training pitch, they used to have all kinds of fights behind the scenes. But there's unity there as well. So I don't really know what to make of it. I think Onana will probably keep the same energy with anyone. It just so happened to be Maguire, and which is why it's blown up the way it has.
Yeah, that's another reason why Maguire needs to move on because everything that goes wrong for him now, it makes big headlines.
Listen, everything goes against him. Like there's no winning. Whatever he says, it's always flashed across everywhere.
You know,
So
he,
yeah.
like I was talking about on the previous pod with
Hmm.
Callum, he doesn't help himself with some of the things he says in interviews. It just it's not the right mentality for Manchester United and talking saying things like he has nothing to prove.
Mm.
I've won 10 games in a row at Manchester United, and they're like Europa League and League Cup matches, and you're like, "No, come on, Harry, you're not saying the right things here." But yeah, like we've said many times, he needs to
Yeah,
move on,
I
and
think
hopefully,
it's human nature, isn't it, to be a little bit defensive. It's one of those. But yeah, I mean, clearly he's fourth, fifth choice. Um, Surprisingly, we've actually done business a bit earlier than I was expecting, which is nice. Um,
he yeah, and
so
he could be sixth choice if Johnny
yeah,
Evans
yeah,
is
yeah.
given the contract.
Yeah. Well, you broke that to me first. It was on here actually. Well, we were. I wasn't having it at the time, but yeah. Listen, stranger things have happened, eh?
Yeah, because he was only training with the club at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Since then, he's got a contract to the
Yeah,
to the
I'll
end of
tell you
August.
what. I don't know why I did this, but I woke up at like 3 in the morning to watch the Wrexham game, and Johnny Evans was the only senior player in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and he came on last night as well. He's probably going to start one of the games next weekend.
Yeah.
And what's even more telling than that is that Ten Hag, every time he's interviewed about him, keeps talking him up. So you can just see it
Hmm.
coming, can't you?
Yeah, most definitely, and especially because certain players, especially ones that grew up around the club, there is a certain affinity towards them, isn't there? So
You know, Ten Hag obviously came from Ajax, which is a club associated with blood and young players all the
yeah,
time. But it cannot be argued that Ten Hag absolutely loves veterans, doesn't he?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, when needs must, isn't it? So I guess in terms of that, you'd have to assess the process in a couple more years down the line. Once you've established a proper system and you've got everything flowing, then we'll see if he puts an emphasis on youth and building them up. It's very difficult to build up youth from the get go when you're trying to work towards something.
well, we've seen him bring Garnacho into the first team squad, and now it
Yep.
looks as if Kobe Menu is going to follow. Now, it's very unfortunate that he picked up an injury early on.
Mm-hmm.
What a compliment it was to start him in that game against Madrid alongside 10 first teamers.
Most definitely. And I'll tell you what, he's looked impressive as well, from what we've seen of him.
Yeah, against Arsenal, he looked like the £100 million midfielder.
Yeah, he did. I know it's only a preseason friendly and we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, he looked good. And in terms of young talent, well, I mean, we've got our senior striker now is only 20 years old.
Yes, and we will get onto that in the second part of the show. Yeah, so a few of the more senior players, especially the ones who play for England, they haven't done very much in pre-season so far. I looked a bit off it. Rashford, Luke Shaw, and obviously Maguire. Even Bruno's been hit and miss.
Mm.
Um, yeah, there's a few. Casemiro not been great. I
I
think.
thought Sancho did all right.
Um, yeah, he's done. He obviously scored in the Arsenal game,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's had a lot of good moments in other games. Like,
Yeah, and it
s-
was interesting because going forward, I was wondering, are we going to see him more in like centrally as a false nine or?
yeah, I probably
Mm,
because I can't see Rasmus getting 50 starts next season. So
no,
unless he's just he hits the ground running, yeah. So I think Sancho
but
might see him.
already, Carl, they're building him up for failure with that one. The writing's already on the wall, isn't it? Like obviously the fee doesn't help him, the size of our club doesn't help him, and on top of all of that, the bloody name sounds very familiar to that
Yeah,
absolute cyborg across the
and
road.
they keep they keep billing it next season now as Hojlund against Haaland. You're like, piss off.
And it makes no sense. Yeah, they tried to do it last season with Nunes just based on the fees, and look how that turned out. And this one is even more ridiculous. I mean, the kids had one good season in Serie A. Like this is a totally different kettle of fish. We're gonna have to manage him.
Yeah, I would be happy if he got 20 goals in all comps next season.
Oh, I think that would be it. That would be outstanding. I'm not even expecting that to be honest.
So yeah, Sancho has looked bright in parts in
Hmm.
preseason. I think kind of the Sancho at United, it was kind of summed up in that Dortmund game where he would do like lovely turns to take Matt Hummels out of the game, and then his pass to Van der Beek would be a bit short, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's there, he's almost there, but he's not quite there yet.
Hmm.
Um, his confidence is kind of improving slowly, but just
Yeah,
not.
yeah. This is going to be a very important season for him. So yeah, it'll be telling. From what we've seen in preseason, I assume there will be a bit of a role change. So we probably won't just see him out on the wing. So that'll be interesting. One of the other things that stood out to me yesterday, Ericsson. Um, do you think he's kind of done? Do we just have to be very conservative with him now and use him for certain games?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think the FA Cup final was a big giveaway that
Hmm.
he does not have the energy required to play in the system.
Yeah, like
Um,
lovely guy, love the experience and all of it, but we have to use him sparingly. And I know next on the list is probably Amrabat. It looks like a deal that can get done. I know there's interest. If that happens as well, I see Ericsson falling further down the pecking order.
yeah, according to Romano, we get Amrabat if we get Fred or Van der Beek off the books. Um,
And that is a possibility, isn't there? Because I think Fred, there's interest from Galatasaray in Fred.
and Saudi Arabia, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I heard,
Fulham,
yep. And I heard a random report linking Donny to Lazio, but I don't know too much about that.
yeah,
I don't know if that's just
and
paper talk at this stage.
Real Sociedad seem to be the team in pole position at the moment for Donny van der Beek.
Okay, and is that alone with an obligation or option?
Yeah, I think it could be a loan, but
Mm,
I want permanent transfers. I'm sick of United loaning out players all the time
yeah.
and getting no fees.
I mean, this is the first summer in which we're actually started to receive fees for players, isn't it? So that's at least something.
Nothing
It's a
massive
start.
so far.
No, nothing massive. Yeah, but I
And
think
and the most expensive sale we can make is probably McTominay for 40 million. But now
yeah,
he's going to be capped because of Mainy's injury.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, listen, if Amrabat's on the table and we get a good offer for Scotty, you'd assume we would have to take it, right? You can't let opportunities like that go.
Yeah, because he McTominay. This is the only time McTominay's going to be worth
It's
40
the
million.
only time you're going to get that from it. And yeah, despite how he looks, like he's about 27. I know he he looks about a decade younger, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, if we get that signing in from Fiorentina, I think then we can let McTominay go. I think because then that
yeah,
means we've got two CDMs in the
and
squad.
yeah, and that's an exciting that's a signing that will excite me as well. I was pleasantly surprised by his passing stats. They're very good.
Yeah, he was. I know we often say that international tournaments are not
Yeah,
what he should be
the
basing
best
there.
marker, but yeah, I mean he did shine at the World Cup though.
But yeah, um, uh, I thought he was immense in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do wonder why there isn't. I'm not saying this because he's a bad player or anything, but
Hmm.
why isn't other clubs interested in him?
Yeah.
I think there's a Saudi club are looking or sniffing around him,
Mm.
which isn't a surprise. But I don't why. e-
I mean,
every United,
who would have thought when Cristiano went over there that the floodgates would then open? Like, they've been signing everyone.
yeah, nothing's impossible at this point in time, as
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
seen.
yeah.
But yeah, every United fan is excited about the prospect of signing Amrabat. Why is no other big club interested in him? I think that's a bit strange, don't you?
I guess it depends on the needs of the teams, right? I mean, where else would he go? Um,
Yeah,
like in the Premier League, certainly. I mean, Chelsea are looking at they've set their sights a bit higher. They've got Moses Caicedo lined up. Uh, Liverpool have already invested in their midfield.
but Casado's looking like £100 million now for Chelsea. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because now after the Declan Rice deal, everyone has to sort of align their valuations, don't they? So yeah,
but speaking of midfield, and you touched on it earlier, Mason Mount has been fairly average in pre-season. What's your thoughts on that?
yeah. I mean, again, it's very hard to judge on preseason. When it was initially announced that I wasn't the most excited about the deal. Um, but it's one of those where he was Eric's primary target, and the confidence that he has in him, we can tell by the fact that he's got the number 7 shirt as well. So it's one of those where you just have to trust the manager and see how it pans out. Really,
Yeah, definitely. I do think there is much more to come from Mason Mount.
yeah.
Obviously, um, if we can get the best version of him on the pitch,
hmm
then we're
Yeah, and
laughing.
that's what I mean. I think it's about getting that right balance in midfield, and I don't think that's quite there yet. So it's going to be a work in progress. I mean, but other things are going to add to it as well. I mean, Hoyland coming in is going to change the dynamic. Just having any sort of threat in the box,
I'm playing
someone.
I'm playing devil's advocate here,
hmm
but towards the end of last season and now in pre-season, Casemiro just looked a bit off the pace. I- Given his age, is that a bit of a concern to you?
It is a tad bit of a concern. This is one of the key reasons why I wanted at least a backup to Cass, because there's no other player that could have come in to take his place. So that's what makes the Amrabat deal that much more important.
Yeah. Um,
And I don't think he's a world beater by any means, but based on what we've seen and the age and the valuation, it's very tidy business.
yeah. If, for example, I don't think it's going to happen 2 seasons running, but like last season's situation where Casemiro missed the game at the Emirates because of a yellow
Mm.
card. If we've Amrabat there, we wouldn't we wouldn't have so much. We wouldn't be absolutely
It wouldn't
distraught.
be, yeah, it wouldn't be as much of a drop off. But you say that, but I'll tell you what, at Old Trafford we didn't have Cass, and McTominay came in and did a brilliant job. So yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, but obviously, as the evidence of last season showed you, away games are a lot
Mm-hmm.
tougher than games at Old Trafford.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, because yeah, we saw that over the course of the season as well. Eric was very naive, I felt at times, and that's something that we're gonna have to watch out for this season to see if he's learnt from his mistakes or if he's still going to be persistent in the same approach. Because I think it was the same things we were talking about, isn't it, Carl? Like, he was quite late with his substitutions in certain games, and then just yeah, naivety, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and at the Etihad, he played a midfield too,
Yep.
in the pivot of Ericsson and McTominay. Big mistake. Um, and Casemiro was available there, and he sat on the bench.
Oh,
Didn't know.
that the Etihad one was horrible because their heads dropped as soon as they came out. I mean, about a minute into the game, we thought it looked as if we were going to concede, and it was like a game of pinball for those first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not this season. I am not expecting us to go to all these
yeah,
big stadiums and win all those games. I
no,
just want
no,
to see an improvement in the performances and
yep,
get the odd result.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's what it is. That's what I've said as well, and I've maintained that. It's not so much about the defeats, but it's the manner in which you lose.
yeah, no 4-0s or 6-3s or 7-0s.
Yeah, yeah, no shipping goals for fun. But with that, I do think it takes time. especially with the new goalkeeper and how expressive he is with coming out and stuff. I'm sure there are going to be times where he gets caught out, but we need to improve as a unit.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a work in progress. I hope we all sometimes United when it's a new manager or there's lots of new players and we're trying out new things that we can stutter at the start of the season, lose the opening game,
Yeah.
we lose the second game or draw the second game, and it takes a while to get going.
Hmm.
Like last season, for example, we didn't win until the third game, and that was a
Yeah.
totally unexpected win at home to Liverpool. We thought we were going to get absolutely thrashed in
Most
that game.
definitely, especially after the opening 2 weeks.
So it took Liverpool to come to town to galvanise the team
Yeah,
into
yeah.
actually winning the game, but the Brighton and Bradford games were a disaster. I hope we don't start the season like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. Already there's one or two things that they're doing that I don't like. Obviously, the ownership we're not even going to bother discussing because who knows? Christmas is probably going to come sooner. Um, the Adidas deal. They've announced a 10-year extension, worth almost a billion. I think it was like 900 million or something over 10 years. A bit of a surprising one, that one. It caught me off guard, only because why would a club who, on paper at least, are looking to sell, be in a position to sign such a deal without that being resolved first? So makes me wonder if there's things happening in the background.
It shows you what a juggernaut that Manchester United are, that they can do these deals even in the present circumstances. And apparently
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
record as well.
Yeah, it's a record. Yeah, it usually always is, isn't it, with us? So there, that's a big one. Another thing, slight area of concern for me. Whatever the hell they plan to do with number 11, they need to sort it out ASAP. I heard reports today that they're going to make an announcement after the first game of the season. I think that's ridiculous. I think
Before the
that just,
first game of the season, is it not?
I thought it was on the first game of the season or that weekend. But I think that's too late, to be honest. I just think that you don't want that circus going into the season.
I don't. I'm uncomfortable talking about this for obvious reasons, but
Yeah,
I think they're just afraid to make a decision. Do you don't?
which is stupid. And by not making a decision, that's probably the worst decision you can make.
Yeah, I just want it done and dusted now.
Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like if they wanted to integrate him back in, then they could have tested the waters during the tour. And if they didn't want to do that, then all right, fair enough. You want to sell, then sell. Like don't drag this out any longer than it has to. You can loan him out, you can sell him. There's loads of options. But this, what you're doing right now, is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Like all you're doing now is setting it up for that first weekend of games where everyone's going to be asking Eric all kinds of silly questions.
yeah, it's procrastinating, isn't it? Um,
Exactly. And especially if we have a bad game as well, you can imagine the kind of questions that are going to come his way.
a few comments here from Realist United and his. Nah, that guy is fine. He is just competition. I think he's talking about Amrabat, and he
Mm.
says that please no more McMuffin. I assume he's referring to McTominay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Listen, he's a bit part player anyway, isn't he? So that's why I don't have as much venom for him.
yeah. Another one thing I wanted to touch on was Forzon, who played 36 minutes and was quite bright. Had a bit of an altercation with the fullback that he was facing, although he got booked, and I don't really think he did that much, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
but Ten Hag substituted him, and then had a bit of a pep talk with him on the side of the
Yeah.
pitch. What'd you make of all that?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it's a bit like what happened with Hannibal against Liverpool? Although
Maybe.
that was, yeah, I don't know. Don't know what to make of it really.
But do
With
you
young,
think it was a test to see how he would handle being substituted like that in a game where he had started unexpectedly?
it could be. It could well be. Who knows? Who knows? With these young players, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them because sometimes, we'll see him in preseason and then we just won't see him again when the season starts.
Yeah, I don't anticipate we're going to see too much of him throughout the course of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah.
He
So it's
wasn't
one of
very
those.
he wasn't very pleased, was he?
Yeah.
Understandably in the circumstances. But Ten Hag, not many players get an explanation when they're substituted on the pitch,
No.
but um, in this situation required an explanation, and he got one in front of the cameras. So yeah, it was an interesting one. I know he was booked, but I
Mhm.
thought unfairly. really. Um, but maybe he thought that there was a bit of needle between him and the fullback, and there was a third party in the Dortmund team got involved.
Yeah.
So he thought the sensible thing was to take him off, particularly as there was a sending off for United in the Wrexham game.
Hmm.
Um, so he probably didn't want the team to go down to 10 men
Yeah.
uh, in pre-season again, because that was a disaster against Wrexham.
Funny enough, in the game we were probably the roughest. There was no sendings off against Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, there was plenty of complaints from the
There was
Arsenal
plenty of
fans.
complaints. Yeah, there were.
It was
Funny enough, though, a lot of the ones I spoke to before the game were saying, "Oh, yeah, this isn't even a friendly." So, but then afterwards,
yeah.
you want to complain?
It felt like it was 20 years ago. Arsenal
Yeah.
fans complaining about hard tackles from United players.
I'll tell you
Um,
what. The only other debate I've had with Arsenal fans in more recent times is which one of us has got the worst away kit this season.
yeah, it's, it's diabolical, isn't it?
It's atrocious. I don't like it at all.
Oh,
But
somehow,
it's one that split opinions though. I don't know what it's like. Do you remember that dress that went viral years ago, where some people saw it as blue and black, and other people saw it as white and
yeah.
gold? It is kind of like that because yeah, I was shocked when some people told me they really like this new away kit. I was like, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing?
Somehow Leitha managed to make it look half decent. Um,
Mm.
I know it seemed to go well with those.
I mean, in
Paul,
the photo shoot, it looked alright, but they weren't in a footballing setting. Like,
yeah, they were wearing like Paul Smith menswear, weren't they?
yeah, yeah, it looked like they were going out for dinner and that. And in that instance, it didn't look as bad. But on the football pitch, yeah, atrocious. Especially the full sleeve version. Oh, all the lines, it gave me an
Yeah,
aneurysm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I think it's whenever I first seen the leak of it, I thought
Yeah,
surely this is a wind up.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. When I thought it was black initially. I thought, oh, is this? Why have we gone for a Newcastle kit? Is what was my initial reaction.
but like it, I don't hate it as much as I did.
Mm.
Maybe throughout the
I
course of
don't
the season.
actually mind the dark green. It's all the lines and stuff that complicates it for me. If without the lines, it would have been all right.
The leaked white one that's due to come out,
Oh,
that
that one looks
yeah,
nice.
yeah, it
That
does. It
that should have been
does.
the
Yeah,
away kit. That should have been our
yeah.
away kit.
We'll probably end up using that one more often.
Yeah, hopefully we wear that one more. That one's actually really nice. I like the simplistic logo and stuff as well. Yeah, and more of that, please, Adidas.
Assuming that will be the official kit. Sometimes these leaks are
Yeah,
not always correct, but
yeah,
yeah. So there was plenty of changes then in the game after 61 minutes. Most of the big names came on then. Um, Daniel Gore didn't get any minutes, neither did Paul Mabry. Um, obviously Onana, Martinez, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Evans, Casemiro, Mount, Rashford who came on, and Joe Hugel came on as well for Sancho. Yeah, so lots and lots of changes again, and two games next weekend, back to
yeah.
back,
Back to back.
Saturday and
Yeah,
Sunday, and one at Old Trafford and one in Dublin. It'd be interesting to see which one the first team playing and which one the
yeah.
reserve
I'll
team
tell
playing.
you what. I was trying to make sense of the lineups in this tour, and the conclusion I came to is that you know what, when they planned the tour, obviously it wasn't planned out in any sort of cohesive plan. It was more so of money in mind, which is why there was a lot of back and forth and traveling and whatnot. And also 40+ degree heat out there in Vegas. I just think the players were knackered. Um, and to acclimatize to that as well, I think that's probably why we saw the changes that we did.
Yeah, but that's been happening throughout the tour as well, because
Yeah,
in every
yeah.
preseason, you start off with 45 minutes each,
Hmm.
and then 62 minutes each, and then
Yeah.
finally you'll get to 90, probably next
Yeah, but
weekend.
with this one, it was just strange because from Houston to San Diego and all of that, like you're kind of backtracking as well. So there's a lot of travel involved in a short space of time. And then yeah, so this 3-4 days leading up to the Dortmund game was the only time they had a few days to settle really, and then you're settling when it's 40+ degree heat, which none of our lads are used to.
Although in the Allegiant Stadium, which is the second most expensive stadium ever
I'll tell
built,
you what, that stadium is beautiful.
Yeah.
That was some stadium.
What's worth mentioning though is that it was like over 100 degrees
Hmm.
Fahrenheit outside the stadium, but inside
Yeah,
the stadium is only 70 Fahrenheit because of the air conditioning
because
and
of the air conditioning. Yeah, yeah.
the closed roof. Yeah. So yeah, it's about as modern as it gets, that
State
stadium.
of the art. State of the art. I'll tell you what, that's a template for all other football clubs to take, to try and build that on a smaller scale. Even would be amazing.
Yeah, maybe that's what the new Old Trafford will look like in 10 years' time. Whenever the Glazers piss off.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. If ever, I've just yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I've lost hope. Really, I'm not even paying that any mind. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
trying
don't.
to look at positives, really, and the positives are that well, we've got business done earlier than usual.
Yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. The takeover, to
Yeah,
be honest with you,
yeah, yeah.
it's not even a conversation topic in the podcast anymore.
Nah, it's not. It's just yeah, it'll be a pleasant surprise if it happens. Well, I say pleasant
And,
surprise. If it does happen, we'll have to weigh up and break down the pros and cons of what comes next.
and you know that Sky Sports News reporter, he does all the kind of the business end of things, and he has this unusual name. I can't remember it.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Cavill,
Y-
Sovahal or something. Yeah, that one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So whenever he says stuff like he did it a few days ago, that there could be movement on the Manchester United ownership next week, you're like, please, you've said this 50 times now. I'm not
Yeah,
interested.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've heard it all before. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this is all clicks and downloads and
yeah,
reclicks and like.
exactly. Listen, the only thing I'm taking solace in is the little bit of business that we are doing, by way of outgoings as well as incomings. Uh, yeah.
Although it does concern me, that £900 million deal with Adidas, that
Mm.
might convince them to stick around if they
Ah, jeez. Um. Ah.
if they're able to bring in money like that, then it
Mm.
might, you might see the two main Glazers hang on. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? They could. Yeah. Let's hope not. See, my thinking. Well, I wanted to put a positive spin on it. You see, so I was thinking maybe they were willing to agree to such a deal because they know that there's going to be some movement happening. Like otherwise, why would you put up that sort of money over such a long period of time as well? Like you don't invest that kind of money unless you have certain assurances or you know that the club is moving in the right direction, right?
yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and
Because as
see.
far as I know, this one isn't structured like the last one either, where uh, part of the funds was dependent on European qualification,
Yeah, it's guaranteed money.
guaranteed money. So yeah, so that's got me thinking.
Okay, realist here says we need a centre back as soon as possible, in his opinion. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Whilst I don't disagree with that, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a
A
priority this summer.
priority. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It depends on the budget as well, actually. I know people haven't really talked about it as much. I mean, I guess rivals have. When you actually add up the money we have spent, it is a fair amount.
Yeah, I can see next summer Varane being replaced. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But if that's the case, then this is the perfect time to sell Harry and to get someone young in who can come in as a rotation option. Um, one player I really like is this French centre back by the name of Todibo, plays for Nice, um, which is what's his name's club, Sir Jim's.
yes, yeah, Radcliffe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have
Um,
heard some links from us as well with him. Apparently, earlier in the window, they did like watch him and stuff. So, but again, I think that's dependent very much on Harry. But I have a feeling that they'll just leave it to Harry. To be honest, it's one of those. If he pushes a move, I think we'll see some action.
he's
If
not
not, we
pushing.
might.
He's
And
not
he's not
pushing at
pushing,
all.
is he? Yeah, yeah. And this is the thing. And his England place is pretty much guaranteed whilst Gareth Southgate's there. So you
Mm,
know,
he says he wants his PR team are briefing that he wants to fight for his place, but he has
mm.
no place. Um, how how many hints does Ten Hag have to drop? Not
I
only
mean, at the end of the day, he's got a contract, hasn't he? So all he can do is try his best, and his PR team are obviously going to say stuff like that. For me personally, it's on the club. The club have to make a decision. Like Eric needs to. Well, I think Eric has made it known by way of his actions. The fact that there were times we could have played Harry last season, and he opted instead to move Luke Shaw to centre back. Said it all for me.
Yeah, I mean, not only the Shaw thing, but losing the captaincy,
Yeah.
being, I mean, Johnny Evans coming in, like, he could end up being sixth choice centre back. You know, it's clear that Ten Hag doesn't even see him as second or third choice. So,
No, he doesn't. But I mean, yeah. So I don't blame him all the way. Like, all he can do is try his best, right? But it's up to the club to make a decision. But yeah, this summer would be the ideal time if you are going to change. Because, like you say, in a year's time, I think it will probably be time to move Rafa on.
yeah, especially if his injury
Yeah,
concerns persist.
and we'd have to keep our fingers crossed that Saudi come calling, because I don't know who
Well,
else is going to take on those wages.
yeah, yeah,
Three
yeah,
fifty a
and
week.
I'll tell you what,
He's 30 years old.
if we do move him on next summer,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if a club in Saudi were interested, because
yeah. No, no, it would be perfect, isn't it? Wouldn't it really?
he's he's a massive name in world football.
Yeah,
He's won,
massive name. Yeah, when you look at his history and all the things he's won and whatnot, yeah, they'll love that. They'll lap that up.
yeah, but that's only if we can replace him with class.
Yes,
That's the important thing.
yes. Which is why it
Um,
would help if we could get Maguire moved on and get someone young in this summer, because then they could at least be a rotation option, and we can see if they develop, and it would
yeah,
make it a bit easier.
well, knowing Ten Hag, he'll want to sign a ready-made player next summer, I would say, who's
Mm,
about
mm.
25 or over. Um, anyway, Marshall Sabitzer played in this game, but not for Manchester United, for Brushy Dortmund. So both Sabitzer and Sancho were playing against their former teams in that fixture. I think Sabitzer came off at half time, and Sancho played 77 minutes. And yeah, again, like we said, slow progress for Sancho. At the moment, probably not going to start that Wolves game, but we'll wait and see what happens next weekend.
Yeah.
Um, so let's move on to talk about Rasmus Hojlund. It's been
Mm,
confirmed that
hmm.
Manchester United have done a deal with Atalanta, £64 million with 8 million in add-ons. Talk to me, Brish. What do you make of this?
Big fee. Big fee. A lot of pressure on young shoulders. Uh, he's got a lot of potential, but at this stage, that's all it is. It's potential. And our league is tough one to come into at whatever age, let alone at 20, on the back of one good season. So yeah, I like the attributes that he has. It's very hard to judge based on like compilations and stuff. You're just gonna have to be very patient with him and give him time and trust the manager to embed him into the system.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if he got 20 in all comps, I'd be absolutely chuffed with that. In
Yeah,
his first
honestly, I
season.
think that would be amazing. Honestly, I put it probably somewhere between 10 to 15. Um, yeah, if he can get 10 in the Premier League, I'll be happy in his first season.
Yeah, let's hope he can get as many as possible. But
Yeah,
I also think uh, a focal point is going to help the other players as well.
most
Um,
definitely. And this is the thing, like from where we've gone from, like from Weghorst to Hoyland, even at this his tender age, I think it's such a big upgrade.
yeah, definitely. I mean, 18 months ago, he's playing in the Danish Super League.
Yeah.
He's moved around quite a lot in that time.
Hmm.
Sturm Graz, Atalanta, and now Manchester
Yeah.
United. Um, I've been obviously trying to get myself psyched up for this by watching YouTube videos.
I think I tell you what, I think had it been a Harry Kane, I think that our attitude would have been very different. I think there would have been a different level of buzz. Um, because it would have been someone that immediately took us to another level. Whereas with this one, we just have to be very patient and see how it pans out.
Yeah, Kane would have catapulted us to title
Oh, most.
challengers.
It definitely would have yeah, it would have in the Champions League as well. It would have given me some hope. Probably false hope at that, but
But
but yeah, no, big fee, big fee. But it's the way of the market, isn't it? What can I say? Everyone costs ridiculous amounts these days. It's just about trusting in the manager and having faith in the kid. It's a
And
5-year contract.
I think we got this wrapped up fairly quickly because
Yeah,
PSG were showing an interest in
PSG
the
were
player.
yeah, they were showing interest. Yes, but by
Um,
that stage, I think he had made his mind up as well that he wanted to come to us. So that's always a
yeah,
good sign.
he's a boyhood United fan, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good sign.
But I've been watching a couple of videos on YouTube,
Hmm.
and I would recommend people check this out.
Yeah,
Um, this one is Rasmus Hojlund against Lazio away back in February, where he was man of the match. He scored in a 2-0 win, but that the goal was something that we're lacking. Where he he got on the end of a pullback in the 6 yard area, slid in and slotted into the
yeah.
net. We haven't seen enough of those Chicharito type goals in recent
Yeah,
years
yeah,
from United.
and last season, how many times did we see the likes of Shaw or Garnacho trying to put in crosses, spraying it into the box, but there's just no one there to pick out.
Yeah, and apart from that, his dribbling ability is
Hmm.
immense. His
He's quite
pressing,
quick. He's quite quick as well for a big lad. He's
yeah,
what 6'3", but yeah, he's pretty fast.
yeah, he's very quick. In fact, um, his top speed last season was
Mm,
higher than Rashford's, who's United's fastest
yeah,
player.
I think he could do the 100 meters. I think what in just under 11 seconds or something.
Yeah, I mean, United's top five fastest players last season were Rashford, Dallo, Anthony, Shaw, and Malacia.
Mm,
Now, Rashford's top speed was 35.95 kilometers an hour, whereas Hojlund was slightly quicker at 35.97 kilometers an hour. So
yeah.
it gives you an indication of how quick he is.
Mm,
But yeah, he presses as well relentlessly, wins the ball back high up the pitch quite
hmm.
often. Um, he goes past players. He picks out a decent pass. He can hold the ball up really well as well.
And these are great attributes because um,
He's strong.
when the goals dry up, or if you can't provide the goals, then as long as you bring others into the game, you can be a very useful piece.
Yeah, I've no doubt the crowd will be patient with him, but
Hmm.
obviously, what social media is like a cesspit. So
Yeah,
people,
exactly. Like that. That's my only concern, especially the fact that people have already started talking about that him versus Haaland lets me know where everyone's mind is at, and it's mental.
it's just stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, I would also recommend people check out another video of him. It's called Rasmus Hoyland destroying everyone in 2023. But yeah, so lots of his goals and assists
I see
in that
you've
video.
gone down a rabbit hole, haven't you?
I didn't name the video myself now. But another one of his goals that I loved was actually, people might say it was a fluke goal, but it was because of his work rate that he got it. There was an opposition goalkeeper who was passing the ball out.
Hmm.
Um, Hojlund closed him down with a sliding challenge and blocked the keeper's pass, and it looped into the net. Now, I love that kind of Tevez-esque kind of work rate,
Yeah,
chasing down the goalkeeper, and because you never know what could happen by just
yeah.
showing no tenacity. Um, so yeah, so he
Oh, and
chases down.
yeah, and that's a player I loved as well. Our club, just the way that his work rate and work ethic, and the way he brought the best out in others as well around him.
Yeah, and it's in complete contrast to Anthony Martial.
Yeah,
He's never going to chase down the goalkeeper.
no,
Uh,
no. Listen, that's another one we haven't really mentioned on today's stream, but again, if there is an offer, we seriously need to look at it.
how is it ever going to happen? Those wages,
Yeah, yeah.
who would want him? And his
Like not,
injury record and the wages, no chance.
yeah, not even Saudis going to be looking at him, are they? Because otherwise, that would have been ideal. I don't really care about the fee. Just to have him off the books, it would just clear up a lot.
Yes, realist, I did say Tevez. I know people don't like the use of this example.
Listen. I'm the anomaly. I'm the only one that has an appreciation for Carlos Tevez.
Yeah, very much appreciated between 2007 and 2009, but after that, I'm not so sure. Um, but yeah, he is a good reference for a striker who shows enormous work rate. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we're not going to use Berbatov as an example now, are we?
Not when it comes to work rate. Fantastic first touch
Like,
though.
but
It was a
oh,
delightful first touch.
Berbatov's first touch is just a thing of beauty, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Everything else though used to piss me off about it. I can't lie to you.
somebody put up a clip on X, sorry, not Twitter,
Yeah.
the other week, and it was as away game against Blackpool, if you remember, where we were 2-0 down and we won 3-2. I
Mhm.
think I think Berbatov might have scored two and Chicharito got one, but Paul Scholes just drilled a pass at
Yeah.
Berbatov. I mean, it seemed a bit heavy, but he just killed it. Just put
Yeah,
it
yeah.
in.
Just kills it in the air. Yeah, yeah.
That was
I've seen
brilliant.
some videos of drills as well, where where they shoot the football at one of those cannon kind of machines where it's coming at you at pace. And yeah, he took one touch to just boot it up into the air, and with the next one, he just brought it down. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody remembers the spin he done against West Ham to set up
Yeah,
Ronaldo
yeah,
for a tap in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Setting up Ronaldo, there was that, and then there was the goal against Blackburn, the one where he sort of jogged from our half and finished off
Got
the ball.
five in that game, didn't he? Five.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he put the five fingers up.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it was an immense performance. And yeah, he was great, great player. Um,
It's a
and
shame. I
obviously,
don't think we got the best out of him, but yeah, he was a fantastic talent.
yeah, yeah, he was a totally different player to Rooney and Tevez, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I just think he came to us at the wrong time. Like, our style of football at that time was not suited to a player like him. So yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, you could argue not to go back into this again, but 2008 obviously was an unbelievable season. But
Mm,
in 2009, do you think Berbatov coming in potentially made us a bit worse, even
it
though
did.
he's a
It
yeah?
absolutely did. That yeah, because to this day, when people ask me, I always say we should have started Carlos Tevez in that Champions League final in '09.
Oh yes, yes, absolutely.
And yeah, but Berber coming in that season totally threw off
And if
Carlos.
and if Tevez started the Champions League final and we won the game,
Mm.
he probably still would have been at the club in 2015. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. And again, like, we messed him about as well, like, because we had that whole second year to make the move permanent, and we didn't. And Tevez came out and said it was after he got left out of the Champions League final as well. That's when he made up his mind. That's when he felt like they don't really want me.
yeah, yeah, him and Fergie never really hit it off. It seemed.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing with Berber, I mean, come the 2011 final, he couldn't even make the bench. Bloody Michael Owen got in ahead of him. Um, yeah, it's not what you want from your club record signing at the time.
Yeah, Michael Owen's availability is even lower than Martial's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this isn't even the Ballon d'Or winning Michael Owen. This was the one that rocked up to us. I mean, I think it was between us and Stoke at the time, were the only two clubs interested in him.
And that's where he
Says it
ended
all,
up as
really.
well.
Yeah, says
After
it all, really.
Real says, "Boo, Brush is corrupting you, Kyle." Not a fan of Carlitos, then I presume.
Yeah, no, none of them like Tevez.
Diehard United fan there,
Mm,
won't even acknowledge his brilliance at his 2 years at the club. Yeah, so I think we've covered just about everything there. So next weekend we have a friendly at Old Trafford against Lons,
yep.
which Varane will obviously want to play in,
And then
and
we're in
then
Dublin.
Dublin against Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure which game we're going to see the strongest team in. I imagine
Mm,
one of the 11s that starts one of these games is going to be the 11 starts against Wolves, more or less.
mm,
Um, but I'm not sure which one it's going to be. Given that the Wolves game is on a Monday night, he might start the strongest team on the Sunday in Dublin because he won't want them to be undercooked going into the
yeah.
game with Wolves. So yeah, the Irish fans might be the lucky ones and get to see the first team.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
yeah, so look forward to those two games on MUTV. It is funny this time of the year when you watch the games on MUTV because the commentary is so biased, isn't it?
Very much so.
Ben Thornley and what do you Stuart Gardner? Is that what you call him? Yeah, it's. I know they try to be a bit diplomatic towards the other team. They try to even, but even their criticisms of United players are a bit soft. Um,
Yeah.
and when the
Yeah,
compliment
I mean, yeah, when it comes to club related, stuff. You know what it is. It's like when I listen to the Man United podcast. You can tell, like when they interview current players, like it's lowballing, softball questions. They don't ask the hard hitting questions.
No, no, not usually. Not usually. And I think the closest you'll get to somebody, going off script is David May. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
done that a
yeah,
few times.
yeah. Amazing, amazing. And his beer machine. I love the sound of his beer machine.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So very much looking forward to these two games, and then the real business gets underway on August 14th,
Yes.
and we have to suffer through the whole weekend,
Yeah.
Friday night,
Yeah.
through to Monday night without any football.
Yeah.
Um.
So ours is going to be the last game, and we're going to have this other nonsense hanging over our heads as well because of the indecisiveness of those at the club.
Yeah, I
Ah,
know what you're saying. I know what you're
yeah,
referring to, but no, I haven't even given it that much thought, to be honest.
yeah,
Um, just now and
it,
again, it pops up on X, and then oh yeah, I
yeah,
forgot about that. It's a bit like Donny van der Beek for the last 6 months of last
hmm
season. I forgot he was even at the club, and same with MG. I forget he's even at the club at times as well. That's what happens. I remember even when Alan Smith had that serious injury,
yeah.
completely forgot about him then.
He disappeared for ages, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
it took him a long time. Same with Ollie actually. You remember the last couple of years of Ollie? Ollie disappeared for about a good 2 years.
He had serious knee injury, didn't he?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
cold lesions. Um, so that's it then. We'll wrap it up there. Everyone, please smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get more of your comments in down below, and I will see everybody again later in the week.
Yep. Take care.